With the new Bee Swarm Simulator update, people are saying that blue hives kind of suck now, but do they really? Well, in this video, I'll be covering all of the insane buffs that were actually added to blue hives in the new update. Because to be honest, they're not actually as bad as you think now. Alright, now starting off with the very obvious change that was added, of course, the Cocoa Belt. Now, the buffs I'm going to state later in this video get progressively more and more overpowered, and the Cocoa Belt isn't too good, but if you didn't know, if you can max it out at 100x Cocoa combo, it gives you an extra 50% blue pollen. Now, I mean, this isn't crazy good, like a capacity buff would have been better, but hey, that's why Cocoa Belt is first on the list. It's decent, but that's about it. Of course, what's even better is the fact that the reindeer antlers are now tradable. If you didn't know, reindeer antlers are like exclusive and kind of rare bee quips, and so onett actually made it so that they weren't tradable when they first came out, but thanks to the new update, you can actually trade them. Now, normally this would be a really big deal because the reindeer antlers can give an extra 10% capacity, which is really good for blue hives, but from what I know, blue hives actually don't use puppy bee, and therefore they don't use the reindeer antlers, which is why this is still the second worst buff in the video. The next buff, though, is actually something we've been wanting for a pretty long time, and that's a buff for the Tide Popper itself, you know, the endgame tool. And that's because now, whenever you swing your Tide Popper, you know, and it like spawns one of those wave thingies, whenever it hits a bee, it now scales with the field boost, which in simple means if you have a boost going on and the wave hits a bee, that's more honey. From what I know, the Tide Popper's been needing a little bit of a buff for the last couple months, so this is a pretty nice buff that was actually added, and it now means that the Tide Popper is just a little more worth it to buy. Now, the next decent buff that actually was given to blue hives in the update comes in the form of Nectars. Now, if you didn't know, basically all of the Nectars in the game give conversion rate. Like, look right here, I just got some motivating nectar, and as you can see, 1.384 times convert rate. But the buff that was added was basically the minimum convert rate was doubled. It used to be 1.01 convert rate, but now it's 1.02. Yeah, that's right, a 2x multiplier for convert rate. Sadly though, it is just the minimum that was buffed. The maximum of the buff is still 1.5 convert rate, but this is just a little nice boost in case you don't have that much bless. Now we actually get to move on to some of the bigger buffs, like the Puff Shroom Blessing buff. If you don't know how to get Puff Shroom Blessing, basically you get it from rare Puff Shrooms or better. For Puff Shroom Blessing, it's pretty simple. You get about half of the level in Puff Shroom Blessing, so I just broke this level 9 rare and it granted 4 Puff Shroom Blessing. So I guess it rounds down, but hey, that's still decent. And the reason this is so good is because while only at 12x, you only get 2% extra capacity. If you max out the Puff Shroom Blessing, which is not that hard to do, by the way, you just have to do like 2 runs, you can get an extra 10% capacity, which is the equivalent of having an extra reindeer antlers equipped. Now, by far the biggest buff to blue hives in this entire update comes in the form of the bubbles. Now, it's so much to the point where I'm not going to bore you guys to death to read it all, but I'm just going to stick it on screen right now. As you can see, normal bubbles got buffed, golden bubbles got buffed, it all got buffed, and we get a ton more honey now, which now means that having a tadpole alt as a blue hive has never been better, because with all those buffs for the bubbles, now you're going to be making a lot more honey if you have one of those tabs, and if you don't have one, try and get one. Now, there are a few minor buffs in the update, like the bubble mask now giving 1.25 blue capacity, or the fact that it now spawns more bubbles, but those are all just little ones I didn't really want to include. There's a whole list of all the patch notes, which you can download in the official Bee Swarm Simulator Discord if you don't want to watch this whole video. I know I haven't posted in a few days, but I got something big coming up, and I'm really excited to show it to you guys. So thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you all in the next one.